With that, let us switch on over to the final piece of today. And that is actually going back to our pal Tucker Carlson's show and looking at his quite bigoted friend, Kaya Reykjavik, or whatever the hell her name is, who is this woman right here, who runs the Libs of TikTok Twitter account, who shares, reposts, all that stuff, the cringe compilations that you may have seen from back in 2014 and 2015 from from folks that yeah, of course there are people that have cringe takes, there are people that have crazy ideas. Frankly, a lot of the people that are shared in some of this stuff may not be the most mentally stable and usually don't have any influence, don't have any power, and someone like this sending out and doxing people puts other folks' lives at risk, putting people out of context, like teachers, like let's remember, these folks don't want any form of sexual education in schools, which is a standard thing that happens in schools. Sex education is something that everybody needs. It's part of our biology, and an understanding sex education is how that you can identify somebody crossing your boundaries. It is how you can understand biology. It is how you can understand the processes of puberty that you are going through as you grow up. You can understand. Look, I'm saying this as somebody. I went to a Catholic school. I had sex ed in second grade. I went to a Catholic school until I was in sixth grade. I had sex ed in second grade, in fourth grade, and then I had it when I came to the public school in sixth grade. This is something that is not controversial. It is not supposed to be partisan. We should want people, and kids especially, to know about this stuff so that they can protect themselves, so that they can be informed as individuals, and they can protect and know that when somebody is being hurt, harmed in any way. And it's just natural. Like, knowing how the body works is an important part of biology. And I don't know why all this is so crazy, but folks like Libs of TikTok and the folks that perpetuate this stuff and go to the school board meetings and say all this crazy stuff, I don't know if they didn't have sex education when they were a kid, but the stuff that is taught in schools is not even thorough enough. Like, you should want people and kids to be informed. I don't understand it. I get where these folks are coming from, and I don't mean that they're right. I get where they're coming from because they believe that grooming is happening, and they believe that people are indoctrinating their children, which none of that is true. None of it is true. Not a thing of that is true. Teaching kids that there are people that are gay in this world is not grooming. Teaching people that there are people that are transgender or non-binary or any form of any other gender identity or sexual orientation is not indoctrinating people or grooming kids to be a certain way. The same way that teaching kids about people of their sex or of a different the other biological sex, whatever one the kid is born, that is not grooming them to be heterosexual. It is just educating them. It is just teaching them, which is part of life and understanding this. I think we would all be better off if we had more comprehensive sex education in this country. abstinence only sex education, of course, is what they want, and they only want it being taught in a heterosexual fashion. The normative in their view. So, this interview is with Tucker Carlson, and we're going to take a listen because Libs of TikTok has gone after the person that found out who this person is. Name is Aya Rakic. I don't even know how to say it properly, but she went after this woman, Taylor Lorenz, who is one of the potential journalists that Elon Musk was looking at banning. He didn't get banned, but this is something that they go back and forth on because Kaya here wants to make fun and belittle a journalist because that's normal for them. And she has tried to get people to dox and to attack Taylor. So let us take a listen to Tucker Carlson Today, which is his radio show.
What's going on here? Do you have any theories?
I think there's something so unique about the LGBTQ community has become this cult, and it's so captivating, and it pulls.
Somehow, this LGBTQ plus community that is 2%, 3%, like it's people that actually identify as like let's say trans are like less than 1% of the country. But it's so encompassing and it's so captivating. Now, you know, people I say it's probably more than 3% if you include all of the acronym. But even if we're still talking about how all encompassing it is, come on. It's a cult. How is it I would love to interview her. Kaya, you can come on the show, please. Please do.
Pulls people in so strongly, unlike anything we've ever seen. And they brainwash people to join, and they convince them of all of these things. And it's really...
People in the LGBTQ plus community convince you that it is okay to be gay. It is okay to be transgender. In fact, people in the LGBTQ plus community, hear me out here, will tell you that it is okay to be straight. Can you believe that? It's so shocking that people are accepting of one another. As somebody that is probably as heteronormative as can be as a straight white cis man, I have never felt under attack. I have never felt pressured. I have never felt anything but empathy for people in the LGBTQ plus community because they've been attacked. I have been, as an ally, I have been welcomed into that community with very open arms. I have been fighting with and for the community because they are not somebody that has, if I have look, this is something that should be said. And I've said it before. I don't know if I said it on the show, but I've said it in person to people that talk about this issue. And I want to say it because of the talk of brainwashing and the talk of, this community is a cult. And I have, on accident, and this is the key, misgendered people before. The difference is a level of intent and a level to say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I will respect what you ask for and say, oh, your pronouns are she, her, or they, them. I will say that I will call you them next time or they next time. I didn't mean that. And I've never, ever in my life I have non-binary friends that I have still sometimes because I knew them as she. And instead of saying they, I knew them as she. And I would say she, and then I would catch myself, and they'd be like, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. Because they know that the intent is key. That someone coming after them, because they are non-binary, is different than somebody mistaking a pronoun. Or, just saying something that is like, oh, I didn't know any better. A willingness to admit you're wrong, or admit a humility to admit I didn't know, that's okay. Like, this is where these folks are totally out of line, and they don't understand that if you actually just accept people for who they are, it's really not that hard to be an ally. It is really not that much. It's not all encompassing with these people. It's not like Pixar is trying to indoctrinate and groom your kids by releasing Lightyear, a movie that has one gay couple in it. The insanity and the breakdown of all of this happens so fast. If you just look into it for 1 second, it all collapses. But the fear and the otherism, the xenophobia, that's what they want. Yeah, just keep listening.
Really, really hard to get out of it. It's really difficult. And there are studies on this. Like, there's been a lot of reporting on this about people, parents who are like, my child is starting to say, that they're non-binary or transgender or whatever, and what do I do? How do I stop this? And it's really, really difficult. It's unlike anything we've ever seen, I think. It's extremely poisonous.
But do you see a spiritual component to any of this?
You
don't have to answer that if you don't want.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I do. I don't think this makes sense at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And I think they're evil.
So this is important to note here. Evil is a word that folks throw out from the right, usually. Evil is a word of moral superiority that is trying to say you are evil, pure evil. There's nothing good about somebody that is evil. That there's an intent, there is malice towards other folks. Evil. You hear people like Tucker use this all the time. The Democrats are evil. You almost rarely would hear a Democrat say that Republicans are evil. This is where it's like the demonization of anyone center left on any issue is acceptable in American mainstream culture and mainstream media. And I'm not saying that folks like Tucker aren't ostracized for bigotry. But largely speaking, these folks can label and slander people and say they're evil, moral superiority attached in all. Malice. They're coming for your kids. That's what they said. In Bucks County here, in the Central Bucks School District, at the polling places, people that would sit and talk with me because they didn't know what party I am, even though I was, volunteering for the Democrats. They didn't realize it at first. They would sit and talk with me because I might look a certain way, might act a certain way. They would say all this stuff, and then I see their sign that says, they hurt your kids, they put masks on them, they don't want all this stuff, right? They harmed your kids, meaning Democrats. That's what these folks are. They and on it says they are evil. The moral implications of it and the hits over and over and over on that metaphorical and rhetorical drum permeate throughout society. And that's how you don't get Democrats saying that Republicans are evil. You don't get Democrats or even progressives saying this stuff with a moral superiority and that they're evil. I think that Republican policies are bad. And I could talk to you about the policies, go head to head on the policies. I mean, we could talk about the stuff like these interviews and these people like Libs of TikTok that contribute to the mental health struggles that lead to, literally have been tied to mass shootings. Targeted mass shootings, like the Club Q shooting that happened just a few weeks ago. But there's nothing that has been done to hold these people to account.
And sometimes we try to break it down a lot, and we discuss like why this is happening, what's happening, and whatever. And I think sometimes the simplest answer is like they're just evil. They're bad people. They're just evil people, and they want to groom kids.
Boom. That is what I wanted to get to from them. What I want to know, I would love to ask her or Tucker Carlson for this matter, and he's going to say they're recruiting. That's what he says in this. What is the intent? What is the driving force? What is the reason? Why do they think that these folks meaning the entirety of the left, including myself on this, even as a straight man, just by supporting people that are maybe gay or transgender, that we are grooming? And what are we grooming kids to do? And why are we doing this? What is the reason? Do we just need new recruits? We need new soldiers in the gay army? Is that what it is? Like, genuinely, what is the reason that these folks are saying this? There is no actual answer to it other than they think they have the moral superiority and it is sexual deviancy or whatever it is on their part. This is where the religiosity plays into it. And again, this is where it's like you have a right to practice any religion that you like, but when you begin to enforce your religion on other folks, that is where you cross the line on the First Amendment. You do not have a right to enforce your religion upon other people. So if you're, again, I was raised Catholic. Not that the Catholic Church was or is innocent. Let's also remember that. But most Catholics don't necessarily agree with gay marriage, despite the Pope actually saying it's okay. Because Pope Francis is based. But if you extrapolate it and say, well, as long as, this is, and I can say this from my own personal experience, because even as a young kid, I never had anything wrong with gay couples marrying or being together because they couldn't marry when I was a kid. But because all you have to do is say, it doesn't affect me. It didn't affect me. Now, to be fair, I'm much more vehement about protecting the civil rights of people now than I was as a kid. But even as a kid, a kid that wanted to be a priest, frankly, all you have to do is just dig and have a little bit of empathy and say, well, that's their life. They should be able to do that. And then there's obviously more progressive forms of religion, which is also important to note because these extremists don't actually... This is something we don't talk about enough. The extreme right wing of evangelicals, of Catholics, of different, of the far right Muslims, of the far right Jews in the world, they're a small minority of religious people. The average Muslim, the average Christian, the average Jew, the average Hindu is not a rabid right-wing bigot. That's important to note. Like, I don't know why we don't talk about this enough. I talk about this sometimes when we talk about when people talk about, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about, like, they want to get rid of Christianity in America. the overwhelming majority of black voters that vote for Democrats, because they say the Democrats want to get rid of Christianity, the overwhelming population of black voters that overwhelmingly vote for Democrats are Christian or are Muslim. There is way more Christian black voters than there are atheist black voters. And the overwhelming majority of them vote for Democrats. So how does it possibly come to fruition that Democrats want to get rid of religion? Again, as somebody that is agnostic today, I have no dog in the fight other than saying that the government should not be enforcing anyone's religion upon somebody else. That is quite literally the First Amendment and freedom of speech. Now, as Melissa has alluded to in the chat, the building. Oh, sorry, very loud. The woman that you saw on Tucker Carlson was also somewhere else early in 2021. And that is storming the Capitol in 2021. So, despite the anonymity of this person for so long, the journalist Taylor Lorenz, who found out who this was, is doing good work because you don't know. Maybe there's criminal charges against this person that is so scared of the woke mob coming for her, while she participated in a literal mob storming the Capitol trying to assassinate the vice president. But that hypocrisy would be lost upon most of these folks that storm the Capitol because they don't actually give a damn about law and order. They don't give a damn about this country beyond their own interests. And everybody that is fighting the good fight to make sure that, everybody has access to the American dream, and everybody that might have access to healthcare. Everybody would have food, shelter, water. Nah, you guys are loser socialists, and you'll never understand the real America that is just, we just want to go storm the Capitol and hang the vice president. Like, the disconnect there. The fact is that the people that stormed the Capitol are are traitors. They committed treason, in my opinion. Maybe not in the legal definition. Some of them quite literally did. Some of them are being tried for treason, and some of them are being tried for conspiracy against the government. But if you dare say that we deserve better as a country, if you dare say that the average American deserves a good life, then you are just a radical leftist in the woke mob, and Elon's going to come get you and ban you off of Twitter. But with all of that being said, I know that this is a lot of far-right stuff right now and counteracting some of it, but important, and it's important for many reasons, but it's important right now, especially because on Twitter, it was known in the Twitter leaks, remember the Twitter files that are, super bombshells, that it came out that Libs of TikTok is actually a protected account that can't be banned from Twitter. So, this bigot is protected by the higher-ups in Twitter, even before Elon Musk took it over, but especially now. Because Elon Musk is, I would like to pull this up before we call it quits for the day. Here it is. So Elon shares this tweet, and I'll make it bigger for everyone. And if you're just listening, it is a picture of a guy with 5 shots, a mask, Black Lives Matter, CNN on his arm, a Google tattoo on his arm, Planned Parenthood on his chest, a hammer and sickle on his stomach, a Feminist icon with a fist on it. I don't even know what that is. Can't really tell. Fox News on his arm. The yin and yang on his leg. I don't know this symbol. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and what is that? Tumblr on his leg. A pride flag with the star and moon of Islam. And it says, "They brainwashed you," pointing towards a guy with an American flag. And it's the Chad meme, him saying, "Really?" And this is the owner of Twitter tweeting this out, also with Twitter being on the guy's leg, saying, like, quite literally talking about brainwashing, but he owns the platform. And let's be honest, and this is not an original thought here, but and I am curious if anybody in mainstream media is covering this, but if this flag here had a Star of David instead of this symbol for Islam, would it be reported differently given the incitement to violence against Jews in this country since, Kanye's dining with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West and all that stuff? It would quite literally be, this is one symbol away from being a very white nationalist-y meme, a Nazi-ish meme, one might say. But Elon Musk doing what he does, he's going to protect the interests of the far right, because the far right is what keeps him in power.